Hello, great people. The presidency of Bola Tinubu has come down hard on Peter Obi, candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 presidential election. Peter Obi made remarks as regards the stampede that occurred in FCT in Anambra and Oyo State. You will recall that in the past few days, there have been stampede in FCT and these two states where people were receiving freebies and rice. So Peter Obi made the comment that this stampede, how people are dying because of rice, is as a result of the failure of the economic policies of the Tinubu administration. Now, the Tinubu administration has come down on Peter Obi that Peter Obi should just keep quiet. He's trying to score cheap political point and he is just trying to steer the public against the presidency of Bola Tinubu. In this video, we'll be looking at two major things. Is President Bola Tinubu intolerant of the opposition? Is he intolerant of opposing voices and the voice of reasoning? And is Peter Obi being political? Two things. Is Bola Tinubu intolerant of the opposition? And is Peter Obi himself being political? We'll be looking at that and more on this episode. Now, let us look at something which I observed. And I'm sure you might have observed it too. Do you realize that the presidency of Bola Tinubu, they don't tackle Atiku Abubakar like they tackle Peter Obi? I don't know whether you've observed, right? It's not like they don't come for Atiku. They come for Atiku when Atiku makes statement. But when they are going to come for Obi, if Obi makes statement, it's usually very strong than that of Atiku. The reason why is best known to them. Maybe because Obi is the softer one, if I can use that word, or the most soft of the two, and that's why they usually come down on Peter Obi very, very hard. Now, let us look at something. The voice of the opposition. What is the work of the opposition? The work of the opposition is not to comment. The work of the opposition is to critique. And rather than for the opposition not to critique, they would rather keep quiet. So the opposition, they either comment, they either keep quiet or they critique. So in this case, Peter Obi, seeing that it is a national disaster, because that's what it is in the true sense of it. If you lost 105 people within few days over rice. So it is not a natural disaster because it is not caused by flood. It is man-made disaster and a national one. So now, the statement of Peter Obi got the presidency very mad. What did Peter Obi say? I think we should look at it. Peter Obi described the tragedies as a reflection of the endemic poverty and starvation in the country, offering his sympathies to the deceased family. His exact word now, Peter Obi says, the desperate quest for survival in these harsh economic times has driven our people to extremes in the search for food, often at the cost of their lives. Now, if we look at it, is what Peter Obi said, is it not the truth? Is it not the reality? So, Peter Obi, if you have not done the right thing, or you have given an opportunity for Peter Obi to cash on, that is the work of the opposition. Because when the president, Bola Tinubu, was in the opposition, he built a more vocal opposition than Peter Obi. Peter Obi is not even like a very vocal, opposition in the true sense of being very vocal. Remember when Bola Tinubu was in the opposition during the Jonathan era? The Bola Tinubu team were very vocal. They shred Jonathan to pieces almost every day. Do you recall Lai Mohammed? The former Minister of Information. It was Lai Mohammed's performance when they were in the opposition and he was busy troubling the presidency of Jonathan that made Buhari to appoint Lai Mohammed as the Minister of Information. So Tinubu advocates for what he can't tolerate when he was the opposition. So Obi too could be doing same. And I will explain this further to you. When Tinubu was in the opposition, he was one of the frontliners of the first subsidy protest during the reign of former President Goodluck Jonathan. But Tinubu is the president now. You cannot protest the way you protest during the days of Jonathan. You saw what happened to protesters. Even minors were arraigned. So what that means is Tinubu advocated for protest when he himself cannot tolerate protest. So if Obi eventually becomes the president, that is when we will know if he himself now is just doing eye service to advocate for what he himself cannot tolerate. It is when Obi, if he's lucky, or by divine intervention, if he eventually becomes the president, if God says he will lead this country, that we will know the kind of president that Obi will be, because normally it is easy to critique. It is very easy for you to critique. When Bola Tinubu was in the opposition and he was critiquing Goodluck Jonathan, he found it very easy. You know, the critic was coming in per seconds. But now that he's at the end of affairs, he has known how difficult it is to govern a country like Nigeria. Another thing is the removal of fuel subsidy. When Bola Tinubu was in the opposition, he was screaming fuel subsidy is a scam. Fuel subsidy is a scam. When he became president, immediately said fuel subsidy gone. And now we are hearing that, you know, like play, fuel subsidy may eventually come back. So you want to ask yourself that if you don't believe in fuel subsidy, right, during the Buhari regime, when fuel subsidy was being paid, why didn't you come out and cry against it that no, fuel subsidy is a scam? Oh, you were a supporter of Buhari. In fact, you were part of those that installed the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. So you could see that on the issue of fuel subsidy and on the issue of protest, Bola Tinubu advocated for what he can't tolerate. So Obi too, perhaps, could be doing the same. In the sense that now, Obi is finding it easy to critique the presidency of Bola Tinubu, although he also tried to condone the victims, the families of the victims. That is commendable. But now that Obi is criticizing the president, I hope that when Obi, if God says he will become the president of this country, will also tolerate criticism. Hope we won't have a repetition of the Tinubu government that is good at critiquing. But now, if you critique him, before you know it, the DSS, the police, the military will be knocking at your door. Another thing we need to look at is Obi scoring cheap political points. You see, like I said earlier, that's the work of the opposition. In other words, if you think Obi is speaking too much, or you think Obi is politicizing the issue and is scoring cheap political points, give him nothing wrong to talk about. In fact, let your government be so, be so good to the extent that if Obi talks, majority of Nigeria will just tell him, my friend, keep quiet. Bola Tinubu got there in 2023. Now, Nigeria is almost like London. There's no insecurity. Bola Tinubu met dollar at about 5 something. Now, dollar is 200 naira. So what are you saying? Obi, go and sit down, my friend. You don't know what you are talking about. As some of your as some of my thinkers that have never read politics or political science in their life will tell me sometimes you don't know what you are talking about. So maybe if you see, I laugh. My thinkers could be very great people. So maybe if the presidents of Bola Tinubu have performed very well, outstandingly, that is the comment that Nigerians will even be telling Peter. It won't even be the presidency of Bola Tinubu that will now be telling Peter Obi to keep quiet. It will be Nigerians themselves. So in other words, make your government so perfect. Make your government so let it bring enough succor for Nigerians, enough convenience for Nigerians in such a way that Nigerians will be the one to be speaking when Peter Obi speaks, not you. But if Nigerians keep quiet and you are the one speaking, it means that there's something for your government to do and there's a lot of things for you to adjust. Now, if you look at it, there's something we must look at. The President Bola Tinubu, and I see that state governments have started copying that in that people must obtain permits. You see, I hope that this permit thing will not be used to discourage philanthropic initiatives, in the sense that obtaining permits now, they feel they charge money. that, oh, imagine now that I want to do like a community project to share food for the needy. Then you tell me that I should come and collect permit, then I should pay money. It should not be about obtaining permits. It should be notifying the government. And government should not charge for people to obtain permit, and the permit should be given unconditionally, because you are helping government to create succumb to the people, and they will now say, oh, do this, do that. No. Once you want to do anything that is a philanthropic initiative and it will involve large crowd, government should give you police and every backing just to support you. So I hope that this obtaining permit will not be a means of, discouraging people. And the presidency said economic policies of President Bola Tinubu would yield positive results in no distant time. The question is when? When will it yield economic results? Is it when all Nigerians die? So, like I said, if you don't want Peter Obi to speak, create succumb for Nigerians so that Nigerians will be the one fighting your battle, and not you that you will be responding on behalf of yourself. If you are the one responding on behalf of yourself and you haven't gotten to the stage that it is the ordinary Nigerians that are fighting your battle, that are, speaking against the opposition on your behalf, you are not there yet. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politics with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science, and this is where we relax to talk about politics and happenings in the polity. Do you want to subscribe? Turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos, and of course, I have great, interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.